Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jared Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
Hey, man.
And we have Brian Walsh. How you doing, Brian?
Doing great, man. Good to be with you guys.
Yeah, glad to have you. I'm going to give it to you right here at the start. You know, what do you do for a living? How do you train? And where are you from? Because I leave that out sometimes in these podcasts, and I think it's important to know the climate we're working with and whatnot as Garage Gym athletes. So, I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, so I'm an IT director, strategy guy for a big company. Sit at a desk most of the day, working on a computer. I live in northern Pennsylvania, so we're mid Pennsylvania in Hellertown area, near like Allentown, Bethlehem, and stuff. So climate's hit or miss. Definitely gets cold in the winter times. How I train, been training with my buddy now in his garage gym actually for the last 3 years. Used to be a big endurance athlete, and before that did random stuff in my company's gym. But been doing it with him for 3 years, and then this year finally built my own home basement gym. Still work with him, but our plan is to do his house during the summertime and my house during the winter times.
That's a good plan. Basement to garage, yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
That's cool. And so what is I guess we go over both of them. What is his setup like versus your setup?
So he's the full setup. He's been building it since he left Indiana. So he moved from Indiana, actually stocked up at one of Rogue's big days that they sell all their misfits. So he's got the full barbell. He bought himself a Rogue rack. He's got the Concept 2 rower, pull-up bar, wall balls, stack of kettlebells, and then we actually scored a full set of dumbbells from 10 pounds up to 50 pounds with a rack from my company that was closing down one of their sites. They said, hey, if you want it, you can have it. So he's got the full setup in his place, and he's actually got an ergo bike right now on borrow from another CrossFit athlete that was shutting down her gym. So she left it with his house for the time being while her house is built. And then for me, I just started building mine this year after COVID started. I talked to my wife when COVID started early on before everything started selling out. Went to Dick's, picked up a Ethos barbell, picked up a couple extra plates from my buddy, some kettlebells, and then a Rogue rack. So mine's just in the infancy of being born, waiting to get the Concept 2 rower, and then hopefully an assault runner to get ready for wintertime.
Nice. Well, you beat the rush somehow. Yeah,
Literally,
that was a lot of insight, foresight.
Yeah, literally like the first week I was home, I said something to my wife, and as soon as she said, do it, I went, okay, done, got online and started ordering.
That's awesome. So big reason was getting ahead of the pandemic. You kind of saw what was coming.
Yeah, I saw it. And then my wife, I wanted to help her stay on top of things too. She's been doing a different program and she wanted to keep going and stay active during the pandemic. So I said, if you want, I'll go order everything. And it's just the right timing of it. Got in there
like, I could do that.
I've loaded the stuff up.
I can place that order if you like. It just let me know.
If you're good, just give me the go ahead, the checkbox. That stuff's coming in the mail.
Yeah.
Did you already get the green light for the True Form?
No, not yet. That's still sort of being worked out. I'm afraid to pull the trigger on it yet because she's never tried running on one of those. So I want to make sure that she's going to like it. Otherwise, I'm going to be buying another treadmill another time in the near future.
I wonder if you could run to a gym, no pun intended, to like try one out, like maybe a CrossFit gym or something. Do like a day pass if they have one and run on one just to see.
Yeah, I would love to do it.
Are gyms open at all up there?
I know I've seen at least the LA Fitness down the road has started to open up with people wearing masks going in there, but I couldn't imagine working out like that.
No.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's cool. You're pretty well equipped here, and you have some good options. You said you had an endurance background, is what you kind of were doing before all this?
Yeah, so my history is I've always worked out since I started, I'll say, out of college and everything. Got into just general gym stuff and doing random programming that I would pick up from anywhere. And then when I was 28 years old or so, I actually had cardiac arrest. So I literally died at work. Had a CPR, had full defibrillator implant put in, recovered. And then when I came out of that, I started slowly training, and I kind of held off on doing a lot of stuff that was too exertive, that would increase my heart rate too much because I was kind of afraid of it. And then I slowly started running, and then my buddy that I work out with now started encouraging me to run with him because at the time he was a big time marathoner, half marathoner. So I started running. He moved to Indiana, left me behind. And then I kept running on my own, got into half marathons, triathlons and things like that till he moved back to the area. And then during that time, he got big into CrossFit and invited me to join him for some CrossFit workouts.
That's crazy. And never getting back to high intensity didn't affect your heart at all?
So yeah, it didn't affect me. What happened was, in essence, that my wife kind of throttles me back a little bit because I never had it get too bad. But at the same time, when I was running a half marathon, when I was 31, I actually got shocked by my defibrillator, just to add to the thing, which is like being kicked in the back by a horse. Not a fun experience, but at the same time, it was one of those things where I just knew it. At that point, I had heart surgery, had my valve fixed, and then I couldn't wait to get back to running and doing the stuff that I always loved to do. And it was a matter of slowly easing back into it. And now I kind of watch myself, but not watch myself. So I kind of play that right on the edge of kind of pushing myself too far.
Yeah, that's that having an experience, I guess we'll call it like that. I think that would affect me a lot with like how hard I push it. You know, I would be a little bit scared. Would you say like you're kind of fearful and then you've just transitioned to like being okay?
Yeah, it was kind of when I started out and got back into it after the first incident is I kind of would go back with a heart rate monitor on, keep my heart rate around like 150 beats per minute, do more of that zone 2 type work. And then kind of got tired of wearing the heart rate monitor, slowly ditched wearing that. And then it just became, well, okay, I'll try doing a little bit of this and then try doing a little bit more of that and try doing a little bit more until it got to the point where I realized my heart wasn't really pressing too far. I could actually, like right now, if I get my heart up over 200 beats per minute, I'll get shocked again, but I'm not hitting that threshold from what I've seen. But I don't watch it too regularly. Yeah.
Yeah. I found like, I used to count, really, really hardcore with the diet and macros. And then you learn over time just kind of about the amounts and how much calories, fats, things that they have. And so it becomes very intuitive. And I found the same thing to be true with wearing a heart rate monitor all the time. Like I pay attention to mine much less than I used to now because I'm only ever wearing a wrist strap monitor, like on my Apple Watch these days. Occasionally a chest strap when I'm cycling, but I just kind of know. And I look at my watch more of like to check to make sure what I'm thinking and feeling is on par. Cause I'm like, oof, that was a pretty hard effort. I bet my heart rate is around here, and then I'll check and it'll be, within 5 beats of what I was thinking that it was at. And so it gets really intuitive after a certain amount of time. So I think that heart rate training that you did was probably really, really beneficial to like knowing your limits.
Yeah, definitely.
What are some of your goals right now?
I kind of thought a lot about this. Mostly, I kind of keep with the same. I want to stay healthy, want to get stronger. I kind of said, like, what do I want to get to from a strength perspective? When I went from endurance to CrossFit to now your programming, what I saw was endurance, my hook was just getting faster, seeing my half marathon times get better. And then when I switched to CrossFit, it became, I didn't know what my goals were. We were just in there doing these random workouts for a couple of years. And now as I look at like your program and where I'm going, I want to get to where all of my lifts are at least at the competitor level. And then I think I'll be kind of where that comfort point where I'm probably as strong as I really need to be. Because at the end of the day, I just want to be a good coach for my kids, show them the right path forward. And then teach them kind of how to do things, and then help them when they're on the field and doing soccer or whatever it is, sports that they're in. My oldest son is a big runner. He got into cross country, so trying to train him and teach him the right things to do. More about keeping the family healthy, I think, more than anything else.
And that's a really awesome goal. Now, how do you I'm going to actually ask you a little bit different, because I normally ask just how do you like training in the garage, but I want to ask you, since you maybe switch back and forth a little bit more than the average person, how do you like training in the basement versus the garage?
The basement, I say, is tougher. Not being able to easily get outside. I don't have a walkout basement, so I got to go up the stairs and then outside, and it's not ideal. The garage is a lot more convenient. You're right there. You go right outside. I'd love to move my stuff from my basement upstairs, but then that would defeat the purpose. It's a great benefit having both worlds, basically, to be able to go outside in the summertime and to be able to go downstairs in the basement in the wintertime. This winter will be the first winter we actually work out in my basement all the time. We've been working out LA Fitness in the past. So now it'll be all in my basement. We'll see how it goes, because my basement's a little bit of a tighter space.
Yeah, how's the overhead space?
I've got 8 to 9 foot ceiling, so I've got a good bit of overhead space.
Yeah,
I can do pull-ups comfortably, but it's like double unders. I got to go out of the room into a different room to be able to jump without hitting stuff, and it's just more of a confined space. It was a storage area that I converted over into a garage gym, basically. Got
it. All right, man. What's the hardest workout you've ever done?
So there's two that come to mind when I started thinking about this one. One was this what was it from? The Extreme Weight Loss had this Fatal 40 CrossFit workout. It's a combination of 40 wall balls, hang cleans, pull-ups, deadlifts. It's like a whole mix of 40 of each with a 400-meter run in between each one of them. And after my buddy and I finished that, we said, we're never doing that workout ever again. We're cutting that one off. And then the other one was Cal Su. It's a big throning workout. It's 100 thrusters, 5 burpees every minute on the minute. That's the one workout where we started and never finished. We hit 80, 85. And my buddy looked at me sitting on the floor and he said, "You want to keep going?" And I was like, "I'm done." And I regretted that decision. I regretted that decision from that point on. It was like, I should have just finished the workout. I was literally 10 to 15 away. I just was toast.
Yeah, that was
the first person
close.
to ever say Cal Su. Because that's mine.
Yeah, that one is gross. If you're gonna quit that one, you got to quit it at 60 or 65, not 85.
It was bad. It was literally to the point where I think I sat 3 minutes in a row, got up to do the burpees, and sat back down.
Yeah, I might just have to do that one again at some point. Joe, we've discussed it a few times. I've only done it I think it's one time, and it was so awful I haven't done it again. And I might just need to try it again to see what it's like.
Even doing half Cal Su I did once, and it was half Cal Su with a 18-minute time cap or something, and it was terrible.
Well, I just hate thrusters in general. I just hate them.
I think everybody does.
Yeah, I don't know if Ashley, I think, is the only person I've ever met who says she actually enjoys them, but I don't know.
Short people should like them. That's what I tell my wife, because the range of motion is so small.
All right, in your opinion,
what's the gasses you?
Yeah. In your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
For me, it's kind of giving it a try. Don't be afraid to scale it. It's figure out what you can get to, which pushes you to the edge of that zone. And I think it kind of goes into kind of where I got to where I'm at now. It's finding that thing that just pushes you to the edge. My dad said to me early on when I first started working out, I actually went to the gym, jumped on an elliptical, did it for a few minutes, and I was like, that thing sucks. And I went home and I was talking to my dad about it. And he said, well, that's what you should do. I was like, he's right. It hurt. I couldn't do it, so I should do it more. And once you build that little bit of being able to get into something and just try it out, you kind of start to get more comfortable with it. And then you move on to the next thing that challenges you more. You've got to kind of keep pushing yourself to that edge of kind of discomfort. And I think it goes back to kind of what you preach in your book a little bit, which is getting yourself to the edge of that comfort zone and figuring out how you get uncomfortable and then getting better at it.
Well, I'm in full agreement with that idea, man. I think that's, if you can master that as a skill, you're going to get better in a lot of different ways. Yeah. Now, if you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I don't want to take the easy way out, which is the barbell, which everyone says. And I thought about going running shoes, but I kind of go back to, I think one of the other athletes recently did. I said, for me, it's programming. When I learned from my early on days of just doing random stuff and then getting into endurance, following training plans, and now following your programming, it's having that programming that kind of keeps you on that progression. Because if you don't have it, then you're not really progressing and you don't see the gains or the benefits that you want to see and why you're doing what you're doing.
I'm all about it.
I think you've already told us the list coming up. If you could add one more thing to your gym, what would it be?
It's definitely an assault runner. It's definitely the true form runner. I want it in the gym. I'm jealous of Jessica having it and down there, and I kind of want to try to figure out when the plan is to purchase it so I have it for wintertime.
Now, which one would you put it in? Your basement?
It's definitely going in the basement. I just got to figure out how it fits into the room. And if it doesn't fit in the room, where does it go in the other space of the basement? Because the basement's massive, but it's designed for like the guests to be down there.
So, Jared, you got off lucky. Because
yeah, I did. I'm waiting. I'm a little nervous each podcast episode now because Brian, just catch you up because I don't think we've published that one yet. But I said if one more athlete has an assault runner or true form runner that we talk to, they have one, then I'm gonna have to buy one. Like I pull the trigger on it. So we're each interview we do now, I'm a little bit like, oh, is this person going to make me drop a couple grand? We'll see.
Yeah. Might need to stop interviewing people just so you don't have to spend money.
The internet connection's going out.
I'll tag you once I purchase it because it will be purchased at some point.
Yeah, do it, man. All right. Well, there are a lot of garage gym athletes out there listening to this right now. So what would your best advice for them be?
Trust the process, trust the programming, and keep after it. I would say when you see the things that are hard, figure out how you could do them. And I would also say track your progress. The one thing I learned from my endurance background, it's knowing how you're improving and seeing those improvements that I think motivates you each and every day. Because without seeing the improvements, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to sign up for your programming originally, is because I wanted to have that accountability every quarter to check in on how I'm doing, because I wasn't doing that in our old way of just random CrossFit workouts. It was now seeing my growth, seeing how much better at back squat I'm getting or front squat or whatever the movement is. So tracking your progress and just trusting the overall process, I think, is the best thing you can do.
Love it. Well, Brian, I appreciate your time today. I appreciate you being a garage gym athlete. So thank you so much for being here and sharing your story with us.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. Good to talk to you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.